Okay, so we're back to videos. I'm gonna book my seatbelt because I'm not gonna be driving. I want to keep a semi-weekly upload schedule. I thought that's what I was doing because my last video, I filmed it like 6 days after I filmed the first one. So I was like, oh, I guess it'll be uploaded about the same. But I forgot that I uploaded the first one like 3 days later after I recorded it. So there's not going to be a super strict schedule as of right now, mostly because my work schedule isn't consistent. Like last week, I didn't work on Saturday until very late. This week, I work very late on Saturday. I start fairly early and I work very late. So, like, I can't schedule a time to film because that changes every week. Even like Sundays, normally I'd film on Sundays because I don't work Sundays. But, you know, because my family is Christian, we don't do work on Sundays, so that's the one day everybody's free for birthday parties and get-togethers and stuff like that. So that happens a lot on Sundays. And in 2 weeks when I turn 18, there's going to be this big birthday party / graduation / Father's Day celebration. Although I don't think it's my birthday party celebration that day. I think that happens Saturday. So, I don't know. But, I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about in this video, because I do have a video planned, and it's going to be much bigger. It's going to be a lot. I'm going to play with editing, not like, you know, animations on the screen or anything, but just like filming different clips, camera angles, putting them all together, and then like editing a voice track or script over that. That's my plan for the video. And I just have to get a few things first. I'm not going to worry about a camera because my phone works fine. But yeah, there's a few things I have to do. That might be next week's video. Probably won't. I'm guessing it'll be a little bit longer than that. But to like the 5 people who've watched both my videos, if you care at all, there is an actual like cool video coming. So if you want to see that, you know, I'll try and make it shorter than these yap sessions. But I was thinking about what I wanted to do for this video. There's not really that much drama to talk about this time, which, thank the Lord, that's amazing. But I do have something that I think would make a good video concept. Time travel has been a big conversation topic in popular culture for decades. Surprisingly, like, I don't know if this is just me, but with this kind of thing, you think that it's just been around forever, and it hasn't. One of the first movies or, you know, big screen, what's sort of looking for, medium, I think, I don't know if that's the word or not, but one of the first big movies to address the idea of time travel was It's a Wonderful Life, which is the best, or at least my favorite, Christmas movie. It's not a Christmas movie. It has nothing to do with Christmas. It doesn't even mention the holiday. But because it takes place in the snow, you can only watch it in December. That's stupid. It's too good of a movie to only see once a year. But that was one of the first movies to play with the idea of time travel. And since then, not just because of that movie, but because of other movies that followed and other books and questions and theorems, you know, the idea of going back in time or going forward in time or changing events in time has become like household by this point. Everybody knows about, you go faster than the speed of light, you'll go back in time. but you can't go faster than the speed of light because physics. But the question of, if you had a time machine, what would you do, is a question most people have been asked in their life. I think a lot of people would go back and see their parents as kids, but then you might get a Back to the Future moment, and nobody wants that. Some people would go back in time and kill baby Hitler, which I don't think would fix anything. The problem this might be a little bit of a weird tangent, but the problem with World War II was not only Hitler. Killing Hitler would not have undone the war. The biggest problem that led to the cause of World War II was how the rest of the world dealt with Germany after World War I, because they were like, oh, Germany, you are evil, you're terrible, we're not going to give you anything, we're going to completely cripple you and leave you with nothing. And I get it. Germany was the bad guy. They were punishing the bad guy. But that opened the doorway for somebody like Hitler to come in and heal a broken people, you know? So if you went back in time and killed baby Hitler, something worse might have come up. Somebody who was smarter than Hitler, more charismatic than Hitler, might have showed up and done even more damage. So yeah, if you're going to go back in time and to try to stop World War II, try fixing the way that the world dealt with Germany at the end of World War I. And that probably wouldn't fix everything, because that wasn't the only issue. There's no one issue that led to it. But it could significantly reduce the damages that Hitler was able to cause. But anyways, sorry. So time machine, what would you do with it? And for a long time, my one and only answer was, I would go 2,000 years in the past to Judea or Galilee, and I would meet Jesus. There was this book series that I read when I was younger. I wish I could remember the name of the author. I can't pull it up. My dad had these books as a kid, and when we went out and visited his mom, she let me have them. And what's the name of the books? Let me see if I can list out the outline of the series and see if that brings back any memories. It was Cyber something. I remember it was Cyber something. Cyber Quest. There we go. It was a 6-book series. Each of the books is like 100 pages long, so really small books. But the basic concept is that it takes place in like 2030, and mind you, these books were written in like the 90s or early 2000s. It took place in the 2030s, and there was this big war over water. Water was running out, so there was a big war about it. And one of the end results of the war was Manhattan, aside from no longer a part of New York, but it was broken off and it was a small island, was where they put all the ugly criminals, all the dirty people. I can't quite remember every bit of the plot. There's something... I think that, that's right, the president, who, and this is not intentional at all, so it's kind of weird that he managed to call this out, but he is a perfect representation of Trump. Like, he is Trump in this book. It's crazy. Like, he's this big, pink, baby-faced man with bleach blonde hair and a weird hairstyle, and he's grumpy, and he's politically inept. Like, it is exactly Trump. It's so weird how he managed to predict that. because this was way before Trump started his political campaign, because he didn't start until like, what, 2014, 2015. He got a late start on it and somehow still won, and then even crazier won again. But anyways, um, but the president wants to nuke Manhattan, just blow it up and take all the resources that are left and use those. And there's this little group of people, and they're like, I don't want to do that. These are human beings, but the general public doesn't know that they're human beings, because they're like, oh, these guys are all criminals, they're all evil people, which isn't the case, because they've been there like 30 years. And they've, well, not 30 years, but they've been, well, okay. The water war takes place in 2030. The book takes place like 60 years later, I believe. So for decades and decades and decades, they've been like having families, and most of the criminals that were sent there died a long time ago. So, it's not really like they're all criminals left there. But again, the majority of people don't know that. They think that there's just criminals and evil people hiding in the slums. So they're backing the president here. And so this guy and his buddies have this idea to start a program to prove that these people are real people. And not just that they're human beings, but that they can make good choices, that they have morals. And they tried it, I think, 11 times before, and every time it failed, because they trained the guy. They brought him in. They're like, hey, this is the program, this is what happens, this is your safe word, stuff like that. And he failed every single time. He barely made it. I think most of them failed at the first task, and none of them made it past the second one, if I remember correctly. So what they did is they just abducted this guy and made him do the program against his will. They didn't train him or anything. And he passed. He passed all the tests, and so they were able to save Manhattan. And I feel like that there was some more going on. Like, there was the president had this guy on the inside working with the dudes who were trying to save these people, who was attempting to sabotage it. But what is the program? The program was, they sent this guy back in time through simulation, not actually sending him back in time, but using a simulation to have him play through different time periods. Like, the first book takes place in ancient Egypt. The second book takes place in the Middle Ages. Knights and castles and stuff like that. And so on and so forth. But in the sixth book, there's not an adventure planned. There's not somewhere that Mo, who's the abductee, is supposed to go. The sixth book is all about taking down the president. They've accumulated this evidence, they've gotten it already, and they're going to send it off to the president. But in the fifth book, there was an accident at the end of it where one of the sabotage characters shot Mo, and if he died in the simulation, he died in real life. So the guy who's trying to save him and his team, they were working overtime trying to keep his body alive, trying to get him out, but it didn't work, and he was dying, and he was dying fast. And they were like, I mean, if he dies, we have everything we need, but we need to save him. Like, it would be best if we can save him, but if we can't, it'll be okay. But despite that, Mo still goes back in time. And he actually goes back even farther than he ever had before. I believe he went back farther than he ever had before. Maybe the ancient Egypt was still farther back than this. But he went back about 2,100 years. And he was in this place, and no matter what, he always knows how to speak the language because it's a simulation again. Except this time, it's not actually a simulation. But he goes back and he's dying. He's bleeding out. He's broken. And there's this big old guy, with like fisherman arms or something. I don't think he's a fisherman. I don't remember what his occupation is. But he's this big guy, and he's helping him. And then the big guy gets called away to help the procession. There's a procession of soldiers. In the middle of the soldiers is a man. And he's frail and he's wounded, and Simeon, the big guy, has to carry the cross that this man is carrying because he's been beaten to a pulp. And Mo looks into this guy's eyes, and the guy reaches out and he touches Mo's hands, and immediately he's completely healed. And of course, that man is Jesus. Throughout the books, one of the interesting parts of Mo's character is his father, who he'd never met, who is a character who plays a pretty significant part, but he'd never met him because he died right after he was born. But his father left him this audiobook, like a Listen to the Bible audiobook. So he knew very little about the Bible. And as the story goes on, he learns more and more about Jesus, what Jesus did, who Jesus is, what God is. And he changes, and his life is different. And then here he is, seeing Jesus, meeting Jesus. And ever since that moment, I have been endlessly jealous of Mo. I wanted to go back in time and see Jesus. And for years, I wanted to go back in time to know if he was real. And a little while ago, I was thinking about it again, and I thought to myself, how many Christians have lived their whole lives not seeing Jesus? Most of them. Throughout the course of time, there's probably been a couple billion Christians, which is a lot of people. Because it's been over 2,000 years since Jesus rose from the dead and ascended. But only like 50 or so ever really saw him, which is crazy. I mean, there's also a few who've seen like visions and dreams of him. But billions of people are up in heaven right now, seeing Jesus for the first time. And that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. And it's wonderful. And so I don't want to go back in time to prove Jesus' existence anymore, because that's not faith. God wants me to have faith in him. And I do. But I still want to go back in time and I want to see him. Because he's Jesus. And anytime I can see him, any way I can know him, is a blessing. But the other thing I really want to do is I want to go back in time and I want to really just beat myself to a pulp. I am such an idiot And I have come so far. I am still a jerk. I am still an absolute pain to be around. And I'm working on that. And I've come so far. I look back on my childhood. I mean, I'm almost 18, so I think I can say that. But I look back on my childhood and I see nothing but regret. Every memory I have is a shameful one. You know, you heard me talking about Lily in my first video. That was by far the worst thing I've ever done. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. That was definitely the worst thing I've ever done, but it wasn't by much. And it wasn't at all a one-time experience. I was like that all the time. I was such a pain, such a nuisance, such a jerk. And I hate that about myself. I hate it so much. If I could go back in time, I would beat up 5-year-old me and 11-year-old me and definitely 12-year-old me, and 15-year-old me would get the biggest beating out of them all. Every time I think back on these mistakes, every time I think back on these situations, all I want to do is I want to strangle them. And right now, I'm not angry. Right now, it sounds like this is very forced. It's not. I could not fall asleep last night because I was just tossing and turning with regret. Yesterday at work, I dropped a tray and I lost it. I lost it. I ran back to the kitchen and I threw the tray down and it fell on the floor and I didn't pick it up, which never happens. Never happens. And I remade her food in like 5 seconds flat. It was the fastest I'd ever done making someone's food. And it was because I was enraged. I was so unbelievably upset. I have never messed up like that before. And I couldn't believe it. I was stunned and I was furious. Thankfully, the customer was extremely grateful, and she even came back later in the night to show that I hadn't scared her off, which made me very happy. But I was furious, and that anger, that rage, that frustration is only reserved for me. I have never been that angry at somebody else. I've been angry at other people. Like just this morning, I was mad at my brother because I woke up like an hour ago because I worked late last night. I was supposed to work about 8 hours yesterday. I ended up staying almost 10 because it was a nightmare. It was a skeleton crew, and it was not a skeleton customer line, whatever. The customer crew ratio was insane, and the skill of the crew was not what was needed for that time. And at the moment, besides the manager, I was the only really competent one. The guys on kitchen were really good. But it was the front people and the people taking orders that just kept screwing everything up. And I was the one that had to fix it. I'm almost a manager. So this is good training and it's healthy training. That doesn't mean it's not frustrating. But I worked so hard yesterday. The whole day was just a nightmare. And I got home and I went straight to bed and I fell asleep at like 1 o'clock. I don't know why. I just couldn't fall asleep. I mean, I was texting my friend a little bit, so I guess some of that's on me. But she did start it. No, I started it because I was apologizing for being an idiot. I have to do that a lot. But then we were talking a bit more. But we stopped that pretty, like, I still, after that, couldn't fall asleep for a couple hours. And then I woke up, like I said, about an hour and a half ago. It's like 10:30 right now. I woke up right before 9. Well, okay. I woke up at like 8, but I was still kind of snoozing, like drifting in and out of sleep. Dozing, that's the word. And I got up, and I got dressed, and I noticed my brother was still asleep, who didn't work yesterday, who got to bed on time. And I was like, are you kidding me? That's so frustrating. But I never get explosively angry at other people. I get very upset and I can get very mad. And I do get angry, but that fury is only for me. It happened throughout the entirety of the Lillison disaster. It happened after the April Fool's catastrophe. Sorry, I'm like right in front of the train tracks. I'm like 100 feet in front of them. So I can't actually see the train because there's a fence, but it's moving fast. Really fast. Anyways, and I only ever get that angry at myself. And for a while, I tried separating myself into two different people. Like, you had me from ages, from womb to 15, and then a new me, 15 to 17, who doesn't make the same mistakes. And I keep making all the same mistakes. I keep screwing up exactly the same. And so I've stopped trying to keep that separate because, one, that's just not healthy to do, because it pushes the blame away from me and it makes it seem like it's somebody else's fault. And two, I haven't learned. I mean, I have learned. I just haven't put to practice what I have learned. Like, even being around Felicity. I think Felicity, the April Fool's Felicity, I wish I should just go back and watch the other videos so that I know for sure. But I was looking through some of the texts that I'd sent her, and I just felt so bad looking at them because we were such good friends, and I really liked her. I really, really, really did. And but I was okay with just being her friend. And I was ecstatic just being her friend. But then I got greedy. And I wanted more. I wasn't okay with just being her friend. I wanted to be her only friend. I wanted to be her best friend. I wanted to be her man, And because of my stupidity, because of my rushedness, whatever chances I may have had are gone now. And that sucks. That really sucks. And it happens every time. And I hate it so much. Like I said, I've tried to separate it, I've tried to deal with it, but the only way to deal with it is to learn from it. And I'm trying to learn from it. But it's not as easy as I want. It's like trying to get in shape, right? I've been working out a lot these past several days. Keep, filtering exercises. Started being a little bit choicier about what I'm eating. And like this time I don't have soda with me or water, so I'm dying of thirst. But I'm not fit yet. I'm still looking like I don't want to look like. I was talking to one of the guys at work, and he's jacked. He's crazy ripped. And so we were talking about fitness a little bit, and I was like, I want to play. One of the big motivations was I want to be an actor, and I want to be a superhero actor. And right now, I have the body to play somebody like Forget-Me-Not. But I don't want to play Forget-Me-Not. I want to play someone like Spider-Man. Really, my dream is to play someone like Batman or Superman, but I'm just... 5'11" is too short for that. And also my hair. It's not the right color. So, like... But if I could play somebody, it would be Spider-Man. And I just don't have the physique for that at the moment. And I'm trying not to let it be a big deal. But I want it to be something that I focus on. I want it to be something that I take seriously. But it takes time. It takes time to build. It takes time to, like, continuous exercise, And it's the same thing with this. It's the same thing with girls and drama and beating myself up. It takes time. And at the moment, I just haven't had time. I feel like there's more I want to say. Every time I stop the recording, I'm always like, oh shoot, I should have said that. I'll say that next time. And then maybe I say it next time, maybe I partially say it next time. But I think that's all I have for this time. Just, Felicity, if you're ever watching this, or anybody's ever watching this, know that I'm sorry. I know I've apologized a lot, and you're probably tired of hearing apologies from me. I just feel like I haven't apologized enough. Not even close. I don't want to end up alone.